Welcome one and all to the Tower of the Gods. And it's been a very long time since we have done another dungeon here in this game, but finally it is time, and this one's pretty exciting in my opinion. It is somewhat linear in the fact that it's not too difficult to figure out what to do. It's pretty manageable, and well, it's going to be a pretty long video, so I hope that you find it helpful. So right now I'm just going ahead and going northeast here. And it's worth noting that you cannot actually use your sail. Well, you can, but it's not going to be very useful because there's no wind in here. And the water level is going to constantly raise and lower. That is a theme for this dungeon. However, though, don't be too worried, is that it takes effect on the ground floor. So on any floors above that, it actually won't be taking effect. So anyway, go ahead and, well, I pressed the wrong button. Go ahead and place this down on this switch here. This Armo statue. I kept accidentally stepping on it myself because I forgot that you have to press the R button to just put something down. Anyways, in the other side of this door here, there is a new enemy. There's a yellow chew, and of course, it is electric, so definitely keep your distance. Use the boomerang to take it out. The boomerang will stop it for a second, and then you can just hit it with your sword, and then that's it. Anyways, get in the water here, and then these two boxes here, do not break them. Well, you only need one, but make sure you leave one of them. You place it down right here on this switch, and it causes this rainbow bridge to appear. However, though, be careful as the water will raise and lower even down here, and it will take the box off of the switch as you just saw. But don't worry, though, you don't have to go back underneath because it'll fall right back onto the switch. And essentially right now, say you don't want to wait for the water to go down, just go ahead and use your deku leaf to get over there. However, though, you still need to do that process by putting the box on the switch because we have something to carry over there. So pick this weird looking statue up and cross the bridge. This bridge sort of reminds me of the Mario Kart Rainbow Road. I guess that's kind of what they were going for with it. Anyways, go ahead and open the door with it and set it down to the pedestal here over to the left. This is one of two of these statues that I need to set down on the pedestal. Anyways, setting down this one will open up a very large gate over there, so keep that in mind. I still one more thing to do before I go over there. I was just trying to break these jars. But just to let you know that that gate is important. So anyways, let's go ahead and get back onto the King of Red Lions. Remember, you're just going to have to hold down R to cruise. Oh, I accidentally spoke to him. I didn't want to do that. Remember, you have to hold down the R button in order to cruise around, as the sail is not very useful in here because there's no wind because we're inside a structure. I really shouldn't have to keep saying that, but I don't know, I just feel like I need to. We don't really need him to get to this place. The water is going to need to stay low, but unfortunately I took a bit long getting here, so I just kind of have to wait. It's also worth noting that if you've never just jumped out into the water and started swimming, there's a special gauge right there on the right side of the screen just above your rupee gauge and your keys to show you how long you can swim before you drown. So thankfully it's not too bad. Just don't stay in the water for very long or else you'll drown. Anyways, these boxes here sort of come into play into this room, and this is really an optional room, kind of. It just has a few bombable walls. You can go ahead and drop one down here. I wanted to try and get into there, and I was able to. This jar will give you some bombs and a rupee, and I tried to jump out onto that ledge there, but I had no success. Anyways, it's worth mentioning that there is a chest in this room. It's just not absolutely necessary, but since I'm here for a complete walkthrough, I'm going to show it off. And of course there are jars in here, so feel free to smash them to replenish any rupees, magic, or whatever items, bombs, or maybe even hearts it'll give you. Anyways, this chest right here is a dungeon map, so I guess you don't have to get it, but it's always advisable to get it, so I went ahead and got it. And as you can see over there, there are two bombable walls, but here's the catch. I only need to use one bomb in order to destroy both of them, and I'll show you how to do it. So I'm just going to come over to here. Also watch out because now there are yellow chews here. Place a bomb right here close to this edge, and it'll actually be close enough to destroy the other bombable wall on the other side of that pillar there, which is pretty nice. It can save you on bombs. Not that I needed saving it or anything because I have 98 of them. Anyways, watch out for these yellow chews as they are electric. As you can definitely hear the electrical zapping. Yeah, I got hit quite a few times in this dungeon. But that just goes to show that I haven't really played this dungeon for a while. Now, say you want a quick way to get over there. Go ahead and equip your Deku Leaf and then just jump out, and then you're going to have to cancel. I almost lost my opportunity to do it, and I even thought that I did. There's a joy pendant in that jar, interestingly, which I guess if you still need to collect joy pendants, this place is somewhat of a good place to. There are a couple opportunities to collect joy pendants in here, so if you feel the need to collect joy pendants, then, well, do it as you please. I suppose you don't really need to kill all of the yellow chews in here. I thought I would just do it just because they're in the way and they drop some items. And it's worth noting that you can't actually fight them while they are in the water because they don't take form for you to fight them. So, enough of that. I mean, I think I went ahead and I killed all of them, but I didn't really need to, even though I just thought it would. Almost running out of time to leave. Thankfully, I was able to leave on time before the water came up again, so don't worry about that. Yeah, look at that, just in time. Alright, anyways, back on the King of Red Lions I go. Let's go ahead and sail down this small corridor to the right here, or I guess to the east, if you want to be directional. Doesn't really matter, though. Just look at your map for guidance. It's not too easy to... I mean, it's not that hard to get lost in here, because although this place may seem big, it's not huge, but it's like a good kind of not huge, if that makes any sense. It's not big in the sense that you won't get lost, but it feels big, and it feels like you're in this awesome place, and it just feels like you're doing something really cool. And it certainly is a lot of fun, I definitely think so. Alright, so go ahead and take these Armo statues and place them on the switches, and that'll open the door. And here, of course, there is a, this is rather of a kind of annoying room, but it's very easy to figure out what you need to do. So I need to push these boxes in such a way that I can jump across them while carrying a Deku stick over to these two torches. So I was trying to test out and see how well I could jump before I actually started off, because I tend to have a lot of, bad experiences with this room where I tend to, I was trying to figure out how to grab the block there. You press the R button, sorry. Goodness, the controls are very different. And look at that, I wasn't able to grab in time. However, though, I still went ahead and tested to see if I could still make the jump. I can, but the other jump was not far enough so that I just jumped right into the water. So I thought, well, alright, I guess I ought to pull this one back then. This water rising and lowering mechanic is pretty annoying, and it is definitely my least favorite quirk about this place, but it's only affecting the first floor, or the ground floor, really. So you don't have to worry about it as we ascend upward, which we will be doing. I mean, come on, this is a tower after all. It wouldn't make sense if we didn't ascend. So I went ahead and lit this, even though that was probably a bad idea because it's not going to last as long. But unlike in Ocarina of Time, in this game, Deku sticks don't burn up. They just kind of, you know, go out if you leave them alone for too long. And I did make this one go out because I thought that if I keep passing through the flames, it will reset the time on it. But unfortunately, it didn't. So you get to look at my failed attempt at trying to make it over there with the fire in there. And as soon as I landed on here, it went out, and I was very disappointed to know that. So I needed to wait for the water to go back up and get another stick. So yeah, don't be me. Don't do what I just did. Just, you know, you really just have to know when, and that's not a very fun thing to do in this place. I suppose you can smash those small boxes because I'm not really sure why they give them to you. You don't really have to use them at all, actually. Same drill, you know, jump on over, light these torches, and it'll give you a treasure chest. It's also worth noting that there are a few collectibles to pick up in here. There are a couple treasure chests, 2 of them in here, and I will be showing you how to get them. Anyway, here's a small key which you absolutely need in order to progress, and thankfully the water was ready. And watch out for these yellow chews, because for some reason, whenever you open the chest, it's going to put a bunch of yellow chews in this room. You can fight them if you like, but they're kind of in the way, and I was looking around just to see if I missed anything, so don't worry too much about that. And alright, I was trying to jump off, but I guess Link didn't quite feel it today. Alright, whatever, go ahead, and now we're starting to go to the west side of this room, and you may have noticed that on the map it shows that there are 2 doors on the west side. But it doesn't really look like you can get them because there's a wall in the way. Well, if you look closer at this wall, you will notice that it is cracked. And that means, of course, that I can shoot it with my cannon and blow it up. And that is exactly what you need to do. So shoot them with your cannon and blow it up. Like I said, in Wind Waker HD, it's a lot easier to tell where you're aiming because it has these little red indicators to show you the path or the direction of where you're aiming. But not on here. GameCube version doesn't give you that luxury. However, I like playing the GameCube because it feels way more original that way. And of course, the water lowered and I have to wait for it to raise again. But it only takes like 25 to 30 seconds, I think. Actually, it might not even be that long. I don't actually know the proper timing of the water raising and lowering. I suppose you could find that out, but I don't really think it's worth finding out. Anyway, so there is a small wall here, so you cannot take the King of Red Lions over here, which is not really that much of an issue. It's just having a proper way of dividing up this area. Not that it needed it, of course. In this room, there is a red bubble, and it is a fire enemy, so of course, one way to fight them, you can equip your Deku Leaf, and you can actually use the wind to extinguish their flames, and that will temporarily paralyze them, or make them fall. Anyways, just be sure to stay away from it, as they will set you on fire. And if you were looking at Link just now, he was looking up on the wall, and on the wall there is an eyeball right there, and remember that, because once I get the item for this dungeon, I will be coming back here. Well, not right after, but before I defeat the boss, I will be coming back here and getting something. Alright, so once with that in hand, go ahead and come on out. So now I have the compass and I can see where other treasure chests are here in this room. Now anyways, let's wait for this water to go down so we can see what's going on. Equip the boomerang, I guess, if I have to. And you will notice that there are 2 torches down here, and there's a pot of sticks here for me. So let's go ahead and pick them up, although the water is probably going to raise again before I get there. As a matter of fact, yes it did, so I dropped that one. And in these 3 jars, it gave me a single green rupee. Even though I have 1,058 of them, I still think it could do better, right? Sure takes a long time. I was waiting. Anyway, alright, now it's down. Let's go ahead and light this stick and light these torches. Watch out for that electric chew. And go ahead and light these torches, and of course it'll give you a treasure chest. It's just a wooden one, so it's not super important, and I pulled out a bomb by mistake. I was trying to use the boomerang. Apparently I still don't know my placement for where I signed my items after 28 videos of this game. Anyway, here's a joy pendant in here. Again, not necessary, but if you still need joy pendants, here is a way to get one. There will be a couple of other places, like I said, to get joy pendants in the Tower of the Gods. So I'll be showing them to you. Alright, this guy just had some bombs, which I don't really need, but into this room. Alright, now there are 4 electric chews in here, and these ones you do need to kill in order to solve this room's puzzle. So this may take a couple of minutes because the water is going to keep raising and lowering, and there's a high platform in here, and you have to jump down, and these things might attack you while you're trying to attack another one, and it's just... yeah, see that? It just goes to show how much concentration it really takes to fight these things. And I don't like how whenever you just get up, Link rolls very slowly and doesn't really move all that much. But it's some weird element that was in this game. What? Oh, whatever. Anyway, waiting for the water to go down, and now I can finally fight this last one. Very nice. And upon fighting them, this rainbow staircase appears, which is exactly what we need in order to fight them. And, well, some of the rupees I wasn't able to get because, well, I took too long. But honestly, after you break those things, the dropped items don't stay there for very long. So you gotta get them while you can, or else, well, they'll be gone. Anyway, here is finally the second statue. This one certainly took some time to get compared to the first one, because I'm already 15 minutes in, and we haven't even experienced the big part of this place yet. Anyways, I always forget that A is throw and R is place, and I don't care how many times I'll play this game, I'm never going to remember it. But that's not the point. The point is that mouth stopped with water flow, and now it reveals another area to get to. So go ahead and jump into the water here and wait for it to rise ever so slightly. Perfect. And you could get back on your boat if you really wanted to, but you don't need to. You don't need him. It's fine. Just go ahead and swim over here and then climb right up. Perfect. Now, this is where the real Tower of the Gods starts. Anyway, in this room is a BMOS, and they shoot lasers. And as of right now, I have no way to kill them. And I actually forgot that there are 2 Armos statues over here. And, oh, you hear that? That's the sound of his laser. Whenever he sees you, he's going to shoot a laser. So pick up these 2 Armos statues and go ahead and drop them down on these switches. You see a third switch and you're like, well, wait a minute. I only see 2 statues here. What's supposed to go in the third switch? Well, you are. These aren't the type of switches that need to be held down all the time in order for something to start. And also, that BMOS just killed a rat. I never experienced that before. There are rats in here, so definitely be careful of them because they can take your items. And so, ow, I got hit. Gosh, those things are so fast in this game. BMOS are probably one of the harder enemies to fight in this game because they're so fast and you need to do... It's actually very difficult to fight them because you can only fight them while you're locking onto them. And whenever you're locking onto them, it's not exactly the easiest thing to move, and they have very good aim. Anyways, in this room, there are a couple things to do. There are 4 doors in here, and we're going to the one over to the east first. So let's go ahead and go there, although of course there are some jars with rupees in it, and as if I didn't have enough rupees at this point, I thought I'd pick up a few more. In this room, there is a yellow shoe, and, well, I guess I can't get its drops because it fell. Anyway, you can ride this platform if you'd like, or you can just use your Deku Leaf to get across. I think you'll have enough air to get across. I'm pretty sure. Never tested it, but I thought I'd just ride this platform. And look at that. I was able to kill both of these guys with the boomerang at once. That's pretty nice. All right. Oh, I needed that heart. Perfect. Alright, now let's go ahead and go through the door to the east again. And this is a very interesting room. It's not a hard room or anything, it's just very interesting. There's this rainbow platform up here, and you have to jump to the other side. And there's an interesting stone here that tells you to call on these things, you press the R button. So you press the R button, and then it sounds like Link is saying, "Come on!" or something like that. And then this thing lowers down, and then he starts to follow you. He's not an enemy or anything. He follows you. Now, you have to escort him back. Now, be very careful with this because he's always going to walk in a straight line to you. So don't just try and go to the end without stopping and let him catch up. You have to make sure that you only go in a straight path for him to catch up, or else he's going to fall down and then you'll have to start it over again. So anyways, you pick him up and you just jump on over. Although it probably doesn't look like that, that's what you do. Alright, now with this guy in hand, or on head, you can go ahead and jump over and take him back to the last room. Go ahead and, oh, I was a little bit late with that one, but I suppose it's okay. Alright, so that is the first one of these things escorted back. There are 2 more to get, because there were 3 in total. So as he ever so slowly walks over to this platform here, He stands up on it and it's raised. And that seemed to give us a new song for the Wind Waker. It's been a while since we've learned a new song for the Wind Waker. I believe it was the Song of Passing was the last song we've learned. But finally it's time for a new song. And this one is in 3/4 time signature. So, sorry, 4/4 time signature. Anyway, to do that you hold the control stick to the left and then you move the C stick respectively. Now this melody, or this song right here, is actually going to be very important for this dungeon and for a couple more to come. This is the command melody, and what it does is you conduct it and then it allows you to take control of certain objects. For example, these stone creatures, as well as 2 other characters with abilities that are unique to them. More on that later, but for now, let's just stick to the Tower of the Gods. Anyways, if you look on the map, it shows a purple dot showing you the one that you have already escorted back. So anyway, in this room now, there are 2 red bubbles, and you can use the grappling hook to get across, but say you don't want to do that, and you don't want to have to mess with those things, just go ahead and use a Deku Leaf. Careful though. Alright, ow. You can use your sword, but ow. Alright, whatever, I'm using a Deku Leaf. Perfect. He didn't seem to drop anything, which is disappointing. After getting hit, I would like my heart back. So you step on this switch right here and it opens that door. So I can't do it right now. As you see, the door just closed, but I was just showing you what that switch does. Now in here you do need to use the grappling hook because I don't believe you will have enough air to make it to the other side. Doesn't really matter though. Here it is. Just jump right on over. So go ahead, walk up, and then press R to call him. And he comes down to you. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. So come over to this switch right here, and then you don't put him on the switch. Instead, you stand on the switch right here. And then this bridge appears. Now, this bridge is not for me. It's for him. So already I'm making use of the command melody. Go ahead and conduct the command melody, and remember to make it 4/4 time signature. All you have to do is hold the control stick to the left and then use the C stick to hit the respective notes. So now look at this. I can take control of him and it's green showing me that I am in control of him. So you go ahead and do that, and then you press the R button to stop. And you notice Link makes this like this motion showing that he's in control. So he's like trying to, I don't know, feel around or something, I don't know. And don't worry, because he will not try and come to you after you play the command melody. And a matter of fact, now I have to pick him up again and then take him to this next room. I think that if you pick him up and then put him down, it'll stop coming to you. And then you just have to press R to call him again in order to bring him back. So I tried to take out this bubble with a boomerang and it didn't really work, so it's kind of disappointing. So I tried with the Deku Leaf, but it was just too high up, so I kind of abandoned the idea. So I stepped on the switch again. What you need to do is you need to put this guy on the switch and then go over to that locked door. Don't worry, this guy will not be in the previous room whenever we come back here. He will be in here, he just won't be in the switch again. Anyways, this room is a mini boss fight, as you saw the screen fading to black there. And here he is. Now, this guy is a Dark Nut, and Dark Nuts are sort of like Iron Knuckles. Well, it's really what they are. It's just in this game they're not called Iron Knuckles, they're called Dark Nuts. Now, they also exist in Twilight Princess, but that version is much more difficult than this one is. Like, this guy's actually not too hard to fight, despite the fact that you have this epic boss fight music that plays. I was trying to grab his Knight's Crest. You can see he's using it as a belt, but I wasn't able to do that for some reason, and I think that was because that he still had his helmet on. I don't quite know, but I killed him without getting it, but he still dropped it upon death. It was inside this little sphere here. Anyways, that was the... I almost said Iron Knuckle. Sorry, that was the Dark Nut. And he was not too bad. I mean, even for new players, he still shouldn't really give you that much of a hard time. Like, he's pretty doable. He dropped some rupees there, which is nice. But this chest is really what we're after. And this chest is probably going to change your entire perspective of item using. Because it is the hero's bow. And every classic Zelda player loves bows and arrows. In this game, though, I will admit it is probably one of my least favorite versions of the bow because it is kind of awkward to aim and it just doesn't really have a good feel to it. But still, I think it's pretty nice that you get a bow and arrow. Also, you can pick up the Dark Nut's weapon and fight him with it, or when you're done, you can use it to smash those pillars, and they drop occasional rupees and stuff. However, there's one area in the game where it'll drop a whole lot of rupees, and you'll be really thankful to have it there. Now, you're supposed to use this bow to shoot that eyeball right there, and if you remember that room where we got the compass, you also have to shoot the eyeball there, and that's why I was like saying that. So apparently I actually demonstrated some really impressive sniping here, and I was able to shoot those bubbles. And I like that they only die in one hit. That's pretty nice. Alright, go ahead and pick up this statue again and hop over these platforms, because this is the only way you can bring it across. Well, unless you hack, but we don't do that here. Also, those two Armos on the side will come to life, so you better act fast or else they're probably going to attack you. Anyways, here is the second one, and now there is only one more left to get. And this one is probably the most tedious one because it requires a couple rooms to go through. Now again, it's not going to take me like a half an hour to do this, of course, heavens no, but still, it's kind of a long process and it probably will take a little bit of time. Anyways, let's go ahead and go north now, although I wanted to break these jars first, even though that they only gave me some bombs. Not that I needed them though. But in here, there are two platforms held up by chains, and they need to be equally held. Or sort of like the Temple of Time in Twilight Princess, although this was before that. So you jump on one and you see this one falls down. However, though, there's a bombable wall over there, so I'm going to be taking care of that pretty soon. But first, I decided to go through this room here, which doesn't really matter, but I mean, before you can progress, you do have to go into this room first because there is a way forward in here. Now, this room is probably my least favorite in this entire dungeon because it's a bottomless void and you have to use the bow in here a lot. I'm not very good at it, although I probably didn't show that in this video. I was this close to getting hit by that thing, and my very first playthrough of this game, and I got to this room, I was very frustrated with it because I fell a lot, I lost a lot of health, I kept getting hit, and I kept wasting a lot of arrows because the bow and arrow is just so awkward to use in this game. I like how in Twilight Princess it just has a much better feel, but I mean, it's okay. One thing I certainly did not do my first playthrough is make use of the Deku Leaf, which I most definitely should, and ooh, almost fell off there. So there are some eyeballs you need to hit, and you just really have to use the platforms and navigate throughout this room. Of course, there's one on this platform I'm standing on, and right here's a chest. And here's the small key. This is why you have to come in here first, because this is key, no pun intended, to getting forward. So up here, of course, there... Oh, almost missed that. That's why I pulled out... I was jittering the X button there because I thought I would miss it. One nice thing about the bow is you can lock on to enemies with it and shoot. That way you don't have to aim manually, which is never easy to do. There's one above the doorway there, although the hitbox for that pole is a little bit big. So anyway, you shoot that, and then another treasure chest will appear. However, though, this one only contains a joy pendant, so you don't have to get it. Although, I still wanted to get it for you, so here it is. Also, there are some jars down there, so you can get them if you want to. But I don't need them. So anyway, here's a joy pendant. Like I said, this is another opportunity to get joy pendants in the Tower of the Gods. Anyways, we're definitely more than halfway through this place now. It's just the last part is getting up and also backtracking for that one room with the eyeball in it. Anyways, in here, now let's go blow up that bombed wall. Of course, in these jars, they're going to give you the same thing every time, I've noticed. Bombs and arrows. And I really wish this was like Twilight Princess, where you can combine them and make bomb arrows. And I know I talk about Twilight Princess a lot. It's just because that's my favorite game ever. So anyway, what you can do, you can pull out a bomb and then time it just right to throw it. Some people are good at it, some people aren't. I get it. It can be tough to do, but I'm just good at it. One easy tip that will help you is whenever it starts blinking rapidly is when you want to throw it. So anyway, you come into here, and then that thing on the floor says something about wind. So go ahead and conduct the wind's requiem. This may not seem obvious, but, well, that's the only thing we know that is related to wind. So that will cause a treasure chest to appear in the middle of the room, but it'll also cause those two giant Armos statues to come to life. So I'll show you how to fight them. You can shoot their eye, and then you throw a bomb into their... Well, I placed one by mistake. You throw a bomb into their mouth. And it's not hard to aim into their mouth. All you have to do is just L target lock on them. Oh yeah, and they have spikes on them, so definitely keep your distance. I think I might have got hit by this one. But, oh, no. Well, that's it. They're not too hard. They just kind of seem big and intimidating, so I don't know if that might scare off new players. Anyway, there is no way to break that pillar now. Well, maybe you can bomb it. I haven't really tried it, but as far as I know, I can't break that pillar now that both of them are dead. Anyways, open up this chest, and you will get, I believe... Yes, you will get a treasure chart. Now, this is one of the two treasure charts I'm going to get in this dungeon before completing it. Now, that's it for this room. It's time to leave. Oh, I didn't want to do that. It's time to leave. Let's go ahead and finally progress forward now. Now, let's go ahead and make use of these two platforms here. It's kind of like a giant scale where you have to balance the weight in order for you to actually get across. And you're going to make use of these statues here. And one of these statues is equal to Link's weight, which just made me realize that Link can lift his entire body weight over his head. And he doesn't just barely do it. Look, he's doing it, and he is running like it's nothing. So Link is actually a lot stronger than you might think. But then again, this is a cartoony game, so it doesn't really matter. So go ahead and throw two of them on there, because if you just throw one, then they will be equally distributed. But if you throw two of them on there, then the one that I need to go on will be higher. Anyways, this is a very simple room here. You'll see there are lasers there, and to turn them off, there is a switch on the floor in the middle of the room, and it is a temporary switch, and it has to be held down all times for the lasers to be off. So go ahead and come here and call this statue by using the R button, and then you need to play the command melody. I got sort of a weird camera angle, but I was able to play the command melody, or conduct. I keep making that mistake too. I'm conducting it in this game, because a baton is not really an instrument you play. It's just sort of a stick you wave around, and it doesn't really matter. You can literally find like a wooden stick on the ground and use that as a baton. It literally will work. Anyway, go ahead and pick the statue up after putting it on the switch and exit through the door here. Oh, also, a Wizrobe will spawn in this room after you... oh, I got hit. A Wizrobe will spawn in here after you bring the statue in here for some reason. Now, be very careful. Do not take this guy over here just yet, because the scales will be reset. So, now I need to take all four of these scales, Armo statues, and throw them onto one of the scales. I don't think you need all four. You probably can get away with 3, but I still didn't want to test my luck. I just wanted to go ahead and be 100% certain. Oh, almost fell off with that one. I don't know if you really need all 4, but still, I wanted to be safe and just make sure I had all of them. And remember, the A button is throw, whether you're standing still or while you're walking. It is still throw. Of course, it'll tell you in the top right, but I'm not looking at the top right. I'm looking at Link, right? Anyway, go ahead and pick up the statue and run across. It certainly is pretty strange that he can just jump across and carry it above his head like it's nothing. Anyways, this is the very last statue. I was finally able to escort all 3 of these statues here to the center room without a problem. So now that I have all 3, they're going to do something. Okay, as glorified as this looks, they really just provided me a way to get up higher onto the tower. That's not going to take me to some awesome room or anything like that. But anyway, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and backtrack before. So I'm going to fly over this BMOS. And the interesting thing is it still shoots around as if you're right there on the ground. I guess the game was programmed to detect your x-axis, or axis, but not your y-axis, which is interesting. But anyway, let's go over here to the west side of this room. You all remember this, right? And anyway, this is really the last time in this entire place where I have to worry about the water raising and lowering. But doesn't matter, like we said, because this room I need to go to doesn't even have that mechanic in it. It just still seems kind of unnecessary and just feel like you could do without it. But it is a thing unique to this place, and you'll never have to deal with that again, I promise. Anyway, this is the room. Let's go ahead and go inside, and there's the eyeball switch. On the red bubble is back, so I tried to shoot it, and I actually was successful, surprisingly. Go ahead and shoot the eyeball, and that reveals a treasure chest behind these 2 stone tablet-looking walls. So go ahead and pick up the heart, and maybe don't smash these skulls because they seem to have nothing in them. So I don't really know why they're there. I guess it's probably to camouflage the bubble, but then again, it was always flying whenever I came into the room. Regardless of whatever it is, here is the second treasure chart. That's why it was important. Completionists, you should thank me for this. Anyway, because this one just does seem kind of forgettable because you have to backtrack to seemingly the very beginning of this place to get it, and once you have all this stuff done, it's just not going to be in your mind. Also, those guys are going to come to life after you open the chest, so be on the lookout for them. I didn't fight them, I just went ahead and left the room. Of course, if you did want to fight them, you have to use your bow and arrow to hit their eye. You're going to need an L target lock on them. And then after you hit their eye, they're going to expose their weak spot, which is behind them, and then you have to hit that with your sword. And they stay paralyzed for a surprisingly long time. Definitely plenty of time for you to attack. And the interesting thing is, if 2 of them are close together and you shoot 1 arrow while locking on, it will actually hit both of them somehow. I don't know how, but it will. Also, now I actually have a way to kill the BMOS, but what makes it difficult is that you have to lock on it and you have to constantly be moving or else you'll get hit. It's very much not easy. I don't know if I make this look easy or not. Of course, you can hold up your shield, but you can't really move while your shield is up. I don't remember if I was able to kill this one, but oh, I was. Yeah. I probably made that look very easy, but I promise you it's not. It is a very skillful move in this game. Which is another thing I was kind of disappointed. I was going to say new players definitely will not be able to do that easily, and I sure didn't whenever I was a new player. I had a lot of trouble with fighting these things. Anyway, back up here. Now it is time to go near the top of this place and get ready to defeat the boss. There's a platform back there. I don't really know what it is, but there's no more chests or anything in here. You look on the map, you see I got every single chest. So go ahead and walk up into the pillar of light and go on up. Alright, now we are on the upper level here of the Tower of the Gods, and we are near the top. Now, I wanted to see if you could bomb these just like in Ocarina of Time, but it didn't seem to work. So I tried again, because in that game, the bombs combust upon contact, but not in this game. Yeah, look at that. I just had a hard time. I was just getting destroyed with these things. I just really wanted these arrows too. My goodness. Okay, so in here, there are 2 Armos statues, and of course, I need to use them to my advantage in order to progress. There are 3 switches over here, and you need to hold down all of them, of course, to turn these lasers off. Now, if you stay in this octagonal ring here in the center, then the BMOs won't actually be able to see you. There are 2 of them, so just steer clear of them. I find it interesting that this laser sound and the BMOS laser sound are the exact same sound they used. I guess it doesn't matter, but I think it's kind of neat that they did that. Anyways, here is the chest for the boss key, considering its fancy little graphic. Here it is. So now I can finally get into the door where the boss is. Now, that is up on outside. Also, the Armo statues come to life, and you need to kill them in order to go into that room. I was confused, and I was like, wait, do I have to kill them? I bet I do. So I went ahead and showed you that. And look at that. You see, I used 1 arrow, and apparently I hit 2 of them. So I also hit 2 of them while I was doing a spin attack, and, well, they hit me back before they died. That's fine, I guess. But now that door is unlocked and open, and I can go and defeat the boss. My magic meter is a little bit low, but you don't actually need magic to fight this boss. Okay, well, there's a I guess, easier way to fight them. I mean, they're not easy. These BMOs will probably never be easy to fight. Doesn't matter how good you get at the game. It's just, I just don't like how fast they are. Because normally they would look at you for a second and then shoot their laser, but as soon as they detect you're nearby, they shoot your laser. So it's kind of like that. Look at that. That one was surprisingly easy. You don't even have to kill all of these. I just did. Oh yeah, and there's a Kargarok in here, so you can use it to get golden feathers if you still need any of those too. You use the grappling hook to do that, or it'll probably drop golden feathers upon death. This time for me it dropped arrows because I already got its golden feather. Oh, I almost missed my opportunity there. This one was stationary though, which is probably why it was much more easier to fight. As you can see, this one is moving, so I had a lot more trouble with it. And I was really just trying to activate it, and then I was trying to move, but I apparently wasn't fast enough, so I said, alright, forget it. These ones got me, though, because they're stationary, and, well, they're always going to try and fight me. These ones move, too, so they're not much of an issue. It's just really annoying to get by these things, but that is it for the BMOs in this place. Oh, no, there's a fairy in the jar. Now it is time to fight this dungeon's boss. Well, giving the eyeballs on the hands should give you a direct clue of what to do. You need to lock onto the eyeballs using L, and then you have to shoot them with your bow and arrow. Did a backflip by mistake, though. Now that his hands are sort of paralyzed for a minute, you need to shoot its eyes. However, though, it's going to shoot out of its mouth, and somehow I avoided it. Now, this guy can sometimes move around a lot while you shoot, so you miss. And watch out for these, because these will hit you. They only do a half-hearted damage, though, so I don't think you should worry about dying while fighting this guy. Now that you shoot his eyes, go ahead and equip bombs. That's right, make sure you have bombs for this. And you have to throw one at his mouth. And even though that I threw it like at his nose, it still landed in his mouth. Because that's science. Anyway, go ahead and shoot these eyes. They all require 2 arrows, and it can be very easy to miss even while you're targeting. You see that? I was shooting the whole time, and even though I was targeting, I still missed. So see that? Until it makes that sound or motion, you're not hitting them. So this thing is kind of tricky to dodge, but once you figure out its pattern, you'll get it. So yeah, and he shoots every time you shoot, so man, I almost got hit there. So last eye, And you need to do this process 3 times, where you shoot all of his eyes twice. So that's 8 arrows, if you don't miss, of course. So it should take you a minimum of 24 arrows to fight this guy. That is if you do not miss once, which is very unlikely. As you can see, I'm out of arrows now, and he just drops one out of his nostril. So don't worry about running out of arrows, because he will literally always give you more. This is seems kind of backwards, but look at that. Look at that. I am missing left and right. But anyways, I only have to hit him 4 more times. 2 in his left eye and 2 in his right eye. You don't actually have to hit the eyes on his hands, because I dealt with that already. But for some reason, I don't know, it's giving me the option to hit the eyes on his head. Alright, that's 1, and yeah, this guy shoots way too much. Because, I mean, apart from using his hands, that is his only means of attacking. So, I keep missing. Look at that, I didn't even get a single hit on him, and he's already shooting again. And I got hit again. So, I guess maybe if you know you're prone to getting hit, it would have been a good idea to pick up that fairy outside of this room with an empty bottle. Alright, go ahead and shoot him, and then use your last bomb, and that is the end for him. And I have no arrows anymore. So that's useful. But that is it for this boss fight. Alright, after that very creepy cutscene, go ahead and pick up the heart container. Just be careful not to step into light before you get it, because can be tricky because the heart container was placed extremely close to the light. Anyway, I make sure to be very careful. Anyway, once you're done, go ahead and step into the light. Alright, now I'm placed on the very top of the tower. As you can see, look, there's literally sky above me. Go ahead and equip your grappling hook and climb up the ladder. And you'll notice that there is a hook for me to grapple onto. Go ahead and pull out your grappling hook and start swinging on that. Upon doing this, it'll ring a very large bell at the top of this tower.